So here we are. I'm really excited for today. I've known these three speakers for many years, and I'm really excited for you to kind of get to know them as well in the way that I know them. Um, so the title was Inventors Tell All: How to Break into a Crowded Market, but I'm not really going to introduce them, but I want them to introduce themselves. So I thought maybe we can, so we'll start with Emily, ladies first. If you can just maybe just introduce yourself and kind of, I don't know what your kind of, just a brief introduction. We'll get into kind of what your actual business is and stuff like that. But if you could just introduce yourself, that would be amazing.
Hi, everybody. I'm Emily Kennison. I'm a lawyer turned inventor, originally from New York, New York. I love New York City, and currently living in Puerto Rico, a bit of a surfer. I'm trying to become a better surfer, at least while I'm out here. I founded two different brands based off of inventions that I created. The first one being straplets, which are sustainable ways to instantly change the look of your shoe. They're phenomenal. And then the second one, which I most recently launched, is road curls. You can kind of see them behind us, and I'm also wearing it. They're heatless curling headbands. But yeah, I'm an inventor and entrepreneur founder with a growing team. It's nice to be here. Thanks for having us, David.
Thank you, Emily. We'll get into more about kind of your kind of straplets and your new business shortly. I want if you can kind of show people how it works, that would be awesome. So
sure.
I know I'm putting you on the spot, but be prepared. Be prepared. I'm coming back to you on that. Michael Indersky, who are you? How do you come to us? How do you know us? What's your story?
It's such a long story, but I'll tell it really short. From the Bronx, live in Soho. I met you guys through Emily, actually, who's a dear friend of mine who I love to death. And I've been in the beauty business of all things for about 30 years. And after selling the last two companies I was at, I decided to do my own thing. I have a company called Hear Me Raw. It's skincare that's powerful and plant-based, cruelty-free and refillable. And I'll talk to you all about it in a little bit, but just needed to do my own thing.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. Finally, last but not least, Manuel Saez, please introduce yourself. How do you come to us? How do we know each other? Tell us.
Yeah, we go a long way back. So anyway, my name is Manuel Saez. I'm the founder of Beyond. I'm an industrial designer as a background. I've been doing this for maybe over 20 years, maybe a little bit longer. I think we met in 2016, maybe through the Urban X Accelerator, where we were the first cohort. My company is Beyond, and we are a subscription service for e-bikes and scooters, and we operate in New York City.
Amazing. Thank you. Welcome to all three of you. So let's kind of get down and dirty into this. I think, Emily, we'll start with you. Like, lawyer turned entrepreneur. How did that all happen? And if you can talk a little bit about your first company, that would be amazing.
Sure. I literally did fall into it. I had graduated from law school, started working at a law firm, and so was wearing heels every day to work. And it was my first week at this new job. I had a brand new pair of pumps, so no straps on them, just pumps, walking around the office, trying to keep up with the fast partners moving around, and slipped out of my shoes, stumbled, and was completely, just utterly mortified. And I was frustrated because I was like, well, these shoes just, they fit a second ago when I bought them. Why aren't they fitting now? Now I have to buy new shoes. And I didn't want that. I was like, well, I just wish I could buy straps to put on them. And so that kind of just snowballed because I studied intellectual property while in law school and knew a lot about like the fashion law space. And I found it all so fascinating. And I realized this can get a utility patent on it. And it hadn't been done before. And I just got super jazzed about the idea of bringing something new to life that was needed in the market and could expand beyond just like solving your shoe slips to creating a more sustainable way to just have your own shoe collection. Don't buy new shoes, just reinvent the ones you already own. So that's how I started. And I kept my full-time job as a lawyer to bootstrap that first product all the way through launch. And yeah, since then have invented and launched a whole nother set of products.
And so how when you made that final decision to kind of leave law, how many years were you into straplets at that point?
Oh, you've been with me since the beginning, David.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a journey. So I left about 4 years. I had the idea in 2014 and I finally left in 2019, 5 years later. So
Wow.
I took straplets very slowly, the shoe accessory. I wanted all my patents to be issued before I even launched the website and put it out on the market. And so I really did do the hard work, and by me, I also mean Gearhart Law really did do the hard work in getting all the design patents, utility patents, all those things issued. And so, yeah, it took about 5 years before I finally left. And it was only after I'd launched and had seen that there was revenue coming in, and that we also had some deals with a very large mass retailer that was going to require it being full-time. So that was 2019, November.
Wow.
But then the pandemic hit, so that kind of just
Yeah, that kind of that kind of put everything on hold. But so then what made you kind of create a second product? What was that about?
So I'm a bit of a tinkerer. My parents call me Tinkerbell because I'm always like putzing with things and trying to make things better and work in my own everyday life and solve my own problems. And so one of those things was curling my hair. I have stick straight hair. I curled it every single day. It was totally fried. It took forever. I was perpetually like running out the door and running late for work because I was just curling my hair. And I wanted a heat-free way to do it so my hair would be healthier. And so you can just set it, forget it, and then take them down and have great curls. So the second invention came about because honestly, I didn't want to invent anything, but I wanted to find the solution. So I went on Amazon and bought every single product that was in the heat-free curling space at that time. And I think there were about like maybe 30, 40 different variations of a product, rollers, some weird octopus looking thing. So I bought all of those and started testing them all. And it looked ridiculous. Nothing worked. The space hadn't been reinvented or reinvigorated since the 90s at the earliest. And so a lot of these things, you're creating curls that look like perms from the 80s. And it's not what you're going for. You want those curling iron curls. And so at that point, I started dabbling in the DIY space, and I came across a video on TikTok where a girl was using a bathrobe belt. And that was the first one where I was like, this works. This really, really works. This is better than the curling irons. This is better than any of the products on the market, but it's a bathrobe belt. Like, we deserve better than that. And so unfortunately, I didn't find the solution, but for a bathrobe belt and the bathrobe belt, I was like, we can do better. So that's when I started on that adventure, teaching myself how to sew, getting a sewing machine, making my first round of production, and then scaling it from there.
Wow, that's amazing. We're gonna come back to that
Sure.
to that for sure. But thank you. We're gonna get down and dirty into those details as well shortly. Michael Endursky, are you an inventor?
I don't know if I'd say I'm an inventor. I would say I'm inventive, but I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm an inventor.
Interesting. So what are you working on? How did it all happen for you? Because you have, I mean, from my perspective, you are an inventor for sure. From a kind of design perspective, from a formulation perspective, maybe you can talk a little bit about kind of how you kind of fell into launching a product.
Sure. I would say I'm a creator, not an inventor, but we could just dance on that for a while. It's actually, I've been in the business, as I mentioned before, for 30 years. I worked for very large companies, and I just got so frustrated that after all these years, these companies are still selling products with ingredients which shouldn't go on your skin, in packaging which isn't sustainable, making claims they can't keep, prices are too high, and products you don't need. And I said, we have to get back to what skincare really should be. And one time was, it should be powerful, it should work. It should be plant-based, it should be coming from the earth, right? It should be cruelty-free, obviously, and should be refillable, completely sustainable. And you look at what's going on. I mean, even just this week, it was announced that Unilever, this big CPG giant, got in trouble because all their dry shampoos are causing cancer. I mean, it's all being done for the wrong reasons, and it just needs to stop. So that's why I created this business. Our package, our product is natural. When we say natural, I mean, this is natural. If you see a product that's white, it ain't natural, unless it's milk. But if people talk about using all these ingredients like, chlorophyll and this, and the product is white, it's just not natural. It works right away. And it has to be refillable. Like our product, the way this works is you pop this out, you recycle this, and then you get a new refill and you pop it in there. In our industry alone, 100 billion pieces of packaging material winds up in landfills every year. There's only 8 billion people on the planet. I mean, we're causing such destruction, and we need to do something different. So I did this as a necessity because I think we need to do this in the world, and hopefully try to lead and inspire other companies to do the same.
So would you say that your career was kind of mostly related to like social impact and kind of social issues, or this was your first like, I really have to do something about this now?
I think it was, after working at Unilever, Calvin Klein, and L'Oreal, I felt like this is great. You're making women feel better about themselves, and it's a fun industry, and it's creative, and you're working with models and doing shoots. It's so cool. But I just felt like there needs to be a higher purpose, and I wanted to get into more of a wellness space. And I swear to you, I was at L'Oreal for 3 years, decided I need to move on. I want to do something where there's social good, good intention, and I put it into the spirit world. I didn't even start looking for jobs. I put it into the spirit world. I'm not even that type of guy. And Burt's Bees reached out to me in 2 weeks, and I wound up being the CMO for Burt's Bees, and that's when I said, this is where your avocation, and your vocation, your loves and your values and corporate come together. When you believe in doing the right thing by people and planet, Burt's Bees was very much that. And I was very much at home there. We were there for like 4 years. It was a company that was a small company at the time, and it was bought for 177 million, and we sold it in 4 years for 950 million. So we blew it up, and I just been on that bent ever since.
And so, Mike, I know that we're kind of debating whether you're a creator or a inventor. You're probably a little bit of both. But what about an entrepreneur? I mean, have you always considered yourself an entrepreneur?
Always.
Always.
Remember when they came up with that term, like intrapreneur?
Yes.
Like as obnoxious as that word is, I always felt that way. I always felt like the rebel, renegade in every company I was at, doing things differently, challenging convention. I always felt it. In fact, I never, ever thought I was going to be in corporate for as long as I was. I thought 2-3 years and out.
Yeah.
But thank God, I've learned so much. And, I don't know, maybe if I had gone the other route, I've been successful in other ways, or, who knows. But I'm glad at the path I took. But as I said before, I made a decision after we sold my last company, which was Bliss. I'm not working for anybody anymore. I need to do something that's mine, that's true to me, whether it succeeds or fails. Like I just can't leave the earth, having a job in a company. I'm fortunate to be able to do this, but I'm not going to leave the earth that way.
I bet that there's probably a lot of people in the audience that are probably shaking their heads like, yes, that is so, because that is the common character trait, at least among the three of you, but definitely among the people that are listening for sure. Okay, Mike, we'll come back to you. Thank you so much. Manuel, tell me about, because right now you're at Beyond, but you're like on like 35 patents. Like you've been an inventor for a long time. So can you describe your entrepreneurial journey, and if it started out always as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I guess I'm a professional inventor in many ways because of my job, right? What I went to school for, which is really looking at problems and trying to come up with solutions, and how that make that in scale, bringing solutions there in scale. But my entrepreneurial journey, I'm originally from Argentina, but when I was in high school, I used to buy motorcycles in parts. So broken motorcycles, they had an accident or whatever, and fix them up and sell them. And that's how I really bought my ticket to get out of Argentina, and that's how I came here. That's the long story short. And when I came here, I came with a vision of that idea of becoming an industrial designer. With no idea how to get there. $200 in my pocket, and that was what I wanted to do. And things happen. I mean, I was just lucky enough, and things turned out the way I wanted. End up going to school here. And even when I was in school, I took the being a student from the entrepreneurial approach, meaning like entering every design competition I could. And I won a bunch of them that really got me through school, and I was able to pay for school from the awards prize from that. That also put me in a good position to get a job after school. So after school, I got a job at a company called Human Scale here in New York City. That's really why I moved here. And at Human Scale, I was the first designer they had on board, and I built the design team or the product development team. So when I started myself, and then when I left, we were maybe 30 people on a full product development team with research, manufacturing, and everything. Got a bunch of products to market with them. And then I felt the urge, okay, I want to do this for other companies. So I started my consultancy as a designer. So I did industrial design consultancy for 8 years. Was my own firm, and I was working with Crate and Barrel, Staples, CV2, just really more on the furniture industry, either for residential or commercial. And in that process, I designed a folding electric bike, which got a lot of attention and action. And that's really what the genesis for the company that I started today is. So what beyond when we started really looking at the first and the last mile, trying to solve that problem, especially for me being in New York on a Brooklyn commuter, bridging that gap between my home and the train station. And that's really what the genesis is. And I designed one bike, and people start asking me, I designed a builder, of course. I designed a build a bike, and I was in the train. People ask, where'd you get that from? Oh, I made it. Can you make me one? And that triggered everything. So I made a bunch. We did a Kickstarter. Everything started from there. Eventually, I said, okay, I'm going to stop taking more client work and focus on this full time. And that was in 2015 when I moved full time to this. So no more clients and 100% on this. In that process, we went through the evolution of the business, and we got to understand that a subscription model is really the best way to eliminate friction for people to start riding these electric vehicles. There at that time, and still today, are $2,000, $3,000 vehicles. But also it's great for the business because that you can really get very high gross margins on a product that traditionally you get very low margins. And it's great for the environment because I can keep that vehicle on the road for a long time because we do service and maintenance. In that way, it's like really get the most out of all the effort and energy that goes into producing that vehicle. So it kind of works and solves, touching the three axes of what's the best for the business too.
I actually want to stick on you for a little bit because the whole point of this kind of presentation is that each of you have literally jumped into really crowded fields for sure. There are, I think everywhere you turn, especially in Brooklyn, there are there's Lime, and there's all these different bikes and stuff like that. So what was that reasoning from your perspective? Why this market? What was why are you purposely putting yourself into a crowded market? What was that kind of decision?
So I think it was for us, it was okay. We know what we're good at, what we have a passion for, and that's really what we're trying to put forward, right? So I don't want to be doing something else that I'm not passionate about it. So I'm passionate about bicycles, motorcycles, vehicles, and we see an opportunity for those vehicles to solve a problem on the first and last mile, urban transportation, everything that is related to moving people and goods from A to B. And that's really why we're doing this. Now, when you go in there, you figure out there are a lot of people also doing this, and they're legacy companies and they're established brands. And really that is when we struggle as a company, try to sell electric bikes without a brand, without distribution, without a network, so without really capital, because we were always underfunded. So and that really what motivated us to look at this from a different perspective and say, what is the best way to get this to people? And that's where we came up with the subscription. In the subscription service, you get the best of ownership because people pay a monthly subscription and they get to take the vehicle home. They keep it as their vehicle, and they don't need to worry about anything. If something breaks, we take care of it, we get you another one. So it's like having the best of owning something without the hassle. And that really resonated with people, and that really opened the door for us to actually have a sustainable company at that point.
Yeah, so despite the market being crowded, there was definitely some kind of flaws and like spaces you can kind of find yourself in for sure.
Yeah, and I think always the best way to break into a new market is try to pick a very like a small section of the market and own it. Try to be the best at it. We were the first subscription service in the US, and we are the best. You know, we are the best at what we're doing. So from that, once you hold that, then you can start looking at other expanding to other areas. But what we're looking at is, okay, we control, or we're good at subscribe and managing customers and managing vehicles. That's really what the core of the business is. Now we want to expand that to maybe we do delivery vehicles for delivery workers. So it's really leveraging the know-how that we built as a company, and then add that more vehicles to that vertical, and that's how we grow from that.
Got it. Mike, same question. Cosmeceuticals, like, I mean, I love Ulta, but like you can walk in there and there's like 9,000 brands. Like, why that market?
It's first of all, you're 100% right. It's the barriers to entry in beauty are so low that anyone can come out with the beauty line. It's just about getting distribution. So that's a positive thing if you're that, but then it's also a negative because everyone's in it. You've got tons of competition. And you know, it's so interesting. You see people who have no expertise in beauty have an idea and they try to enter the market and they crap out so fast, because even people who are really seasoned in it, they can crap out fast. You know, it's so hard to really make a difference in this industry. And I just felt that I had to give this a go because the formulas were incredible formulas, which is the packaging was, you know, breakthrough packaging at the time. Now people are starting to do refills, you know, so I just felt we had enough difference. I do think I overestimated my recognition in the industry with, oh, this will get me a lot of distribution. They all know me, I'm Mike, you know, and that only goes so far, you know. So I think I overestimated that for sure. But yeah, it's hard. In fact, it's interestingly, these three women were referred to me. They were looking for advice or trying to get into the beauty business. And I just gave them the worst responses. I said, why? When I heard what they were trying to do, why are you doing this? Don't, you know, it's not differentiated. You know, where do we raise money? Oh, you're not going to raise money in beauty until you're doing about $10 or $20 million. What do you I discourage them, unfortunately.
No, but you know what, Mike, it's so funny you say that because I often, like, usually when a potential client comes to me and they say they have a great idea and we're going to get it patented, whatever, I almost try to talk them out of it a little bit because it's really freaking hard, like, to launch the product. Like, it's really hard to like get the distribution and to do the marketing, and you have to want it so bad that doesn't matter what I'm going to try to say to you to talk you out of it, you know?
Exactly. I feel the same way. And for me, I'm a person who, I hear an idea, I get very excited by it and I try to build on it. You know, I get crazy trying to help out. And here it was just, you know, what they were so unaware of the industry, how it works, you know, innovation. Yeah, at this point I said, listen, you know, I just wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
What a guy.
It's great but it's great that you're doing it. So that's awesome that you're following those urges.
Yep.
Emily, I mean, fashion, apparel, like hair products, like shoes, like what? Like what? How'd you think that you were gonna do this? And you did it. How do you think you were gonna do it?
I think it definitely ties back into the market and just understanding the market and the need for innovation in it. I think when you look at a lot of these big companies and thinking like, how are you going to compete in the footwear space? How are you going to compete in the hair care beauty space? Those big legacy companies haven't innovated, don't have that push to innovate until someone pushes them. Yeah. And I really believe it's the customer that has to be the one to push them because they have the education, they have the experience, they are more knowledgeable. They use these products every day. They can create that change. They can invent new products. They can make and catalyze the products that should be in the world. And force the industry to go in a new direction. So when I was like looking at the footwear space, I did a lot of testing, a lot of market research, and you know, it's just harrowing how much waste there is and how trivial the changes that have been put in place are to making the actual difference when it comes to sustainability and making the world a better place. So like 1 in 4 shoes are thrown out having been basically never worn maybe one time, twice, just because they don't fit. 25% of shoes take thousands of years to degrade and decompose. They're not recycled. That's not the industry we're in. And so that is an immense amount of waste. And so just reimagining, like, how can we make this space better? And yes, I was trying to solve my shoe slips, but I mean, that was just the initial seed. And I was like, wow, this can be any style strap. You can literally reinvent every single shoe that you see on Nordstrom's website by just changing the straps. They're all basic pumps with different straps on them. Why are we making this such an expensive purchase for the customer and for our planet? And so the big industries aren't going to do it. It's hard to innovate. There's a lot of bureaucracy within it. So why not us? And I think, you know, the ideas that I have brought to life are the ones that I thought would be easy. I'm like, how hard can it be to make a strap? How hard can it be to make a curling headband? It is so hard, no matter how easy it is. But it was something that I could bootstrap and I could figure out through hustle and through just care and constant mentorship. And so, yeah, and then the same thing goes for the hair space. Like when I realized that the heatless curls that I was creating with a bathrobe belt lasted 5 times longer than a curling iron. Like my curling iron curls went flat. I mean, they would barely last an hour, 2 hours. My heatless curls, they last all day. And I'm like, this is insane. Why are we buying these appliances that burn our hair, that creates sucky curls that don't last, that takes forever to use? An average woman is going to spend 25 of your years of her life using one of these appliances in the morning, curling her hair, straightening it, blow drying it, all of that. Like that is nuts. Yeah. And so, sorry, 2.5 years, not 25, 2.5 years of her life. 25 would be extra nuts. Yeah, it's just, you know, that innovation needs to come from somewhere. And I think it's going to be the customers and the consumers that are the ones that are going to drive it. And I want to empower that.
Yeah, I agree. You really are your own customer for this product, and that helps a lot. But you bring up a good point about bootstrapping. I want to get into that a little bit. So no investors for you. You kind of, because I think there are some people on the call. I know for a fact I actually see a few kind of names that are actively seeking investors. Like we had a whole investor panel literally last month of like angels and VCs and stuff like that. But you chose to bootstrap it. Was that like a conscious decision, or was it a decision out of necessity because you couldn't get investors? How'd that all play out?
So for both of the ideas, I mean, first of all, women tend not to get invested in very frequently. Less than 2% of funding goes to women. 98% of women don't get funding. That's just how the numbers roll. If you throw into the mix the fact that you're trying to get money in an idea and a new invention in a new market, that is extra risky. Investors want to rebrand, you know, Gillette's razor blade, make it look pretty, and, you know, put it and market that and, you know, call it a new product. It's the same thing. They want that proven market. And so we tried to get some investors, especially with straplets early on, because I was bootstrapping. But it wasn't an easy process. It wasn't worth my time to figure out. We got rejected. That's pretty much it with straplets. And then when it came to robe curls, I went from idea to our, you know, MVP launch, I'll call it, our first launch, where like the name back then was Curl Scarf. Like I just threw a name on it, had my product, put it in the market, wanted to see how it's doing, and we kept iterating and iterating and iterating. But that one went from idea to launch in 2 months. And for that one, we have interest from investors, but it's because we're a profitable business and we've been able to show that there is this market, and we're at a point where, okay, investor money, what will it actually do for us? Money is money. But yeah, it's just not something that we necessarily need at this stage.
Yeah, no, I
And so, yeah, it's like they're coming in later to the game, you know?
yeah, I totally respect that. I think there's a few people on the call that I know that are like personally bootstrapping for many years, and it's not even considered bootstrapping anymore. It's just the cost of doing business, and that's it, you know? Yeah.
And all the risk is on you, so that added
Yep.
stress.
Totally.
So there are definitely downsides, but I did keep my job for, you know, as you know, 5 years while I was bootstrapping. So I think if you're going to bootstrap, you got to do it where in your comfort zone. Don't just, you know, assume that this is going to work out, because it might not.
Yeah.
And you don't want to just, you got to be careful.
Good point. Manuel, investors, bootstrapped. How did you do it?
Yeah, it's a tough one, though. I mean, we never raised any formal equity round from, from an investor. We all, everything we've done is convertible notes in smaller amounts, which is doing what we do in terms of what the capital requirement is to actually get physical products to market, like hardware that requires some software integration with it. It's super difficult, but we made it work. We got 4 products to market, but of course it would have been a lot faster, easier, and maybe we'll be farther along in the path of the business if we had if we were able to raise a formal equity round. Just to keep in mind, we just raised under a little bit over 2 million ever in the life of this company, and bringing 4 hardware products to market with that money is not easy.
Yeah, I love it. Two examples of that. You don't need investors. Again, not every journey and product requires that. So please keep that in mind with your own journeys. Mike, what about you?
No, I'm self-funding, and it's interesting. When I first started, I decided to take a partner on, and guy, we've always wanted to work together. The guy's like filthy rich, and the idea was we both put up half the cash. He'll run the back end, I'll run the front end. But we never came to agreement on the packaging. He was against the refills, and I said that has to be part of the equation. So I took it back from him. We're still friends to this day, and I've self-funded, knowing that I would need to. And also, I honestly didn't feel comfortable trying to get money from someone until I can prove my concept. Right now my refills are 40% of my business. My repeat rate is over 40%. So I've proved, people love the product, the value proposition is there, but I wouldn't even take my dad's money. Not that he has any, but I wouldn't even take my dad's money without proving the concept first. But, so I've self-funded. I've been fortunate that I'm able to do so. Although I am at the moment now where I'm starting to look at people to help jump in and join the fund financially.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any takers in the audience, let Mike know for sure. Let's talk about branding a little bit. Mike, I'll stay on you, because that's like definitely one of the ways to kind of break into these crowded markets is to really have a good brand, right? Yes, patents are great, but that's not the first thing that people are seeing, right?
No.
You're living and dying by your brand.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. So Hear Me Raw. Can we talk a little bit about that, the kind of the evolution of your brand and how it plays into your kind of making a place for
it's a fantastic brand name. I'm so proud of it, and it's you hear the frustration of women in the market. We did a survey of women around the country, and they're frustrated about too many choices. They're frustrated about this. They're frustrated about so much, but the emotion in their responses, you can tell they're like, why do I have to go into a Sephora and face so many products, not know what to use? Why do they cost so much? What's clean? What's natural? And, this idea, I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar, the Helen Reddy song kept popping in my head. And then because we're natural, it just became Hear Me Raw. And it was such a perfect name, and it is such a perfect name. I'm very, very proud of it. The original working name was terrible. And, but we never, that was in the past. It was just kind of a working name. So yeah, and it's so important to break through, because everyone, it sounds the same. You go into a beauty, the French names and English, you need something to really break through, and ours breaks through. And when we do shows, people just stop. Wait, what? I love that name. So yeah, it's a showstopper.
Good. You need that. I think you definitely need.
Yeah, to answer your question, you absolutely need it. I mean, great products. I had this great product once. I don't remember what the name of it was. You know, but it was a great product. No, you have to have a really, really great name. I think it's essential, especially, you know, it's so crowded.
Yeah. So, Manuel, beyond, so actually, I met Manuel, and his first trademark, which I freaking love to this day, is called Brooklyness. And because he's, you know, because I think you know, he had some roots in Brooklyn. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, but so that name still kind of resonates with me, and I know you still have it. But beyond, where'd you come up with that?
Yeah, I think, look, when we started with Brooklyness, I think it was a play on the name, and we just, you know, it's a very polarizing name. Let's put it this way: people love it, or people question, hey, what's that? What's up with that? Especially on the West Coast, when you talk to when you want to go, you know, when you want to expand the market and think more globally, I think that name becomes more of a question mark. So we were in that position that we had to think about it and then reconsider what we stand for and how we want to present ourselves to the public as we grew, going from a local brand from Brooklyn to a brand that has aspirations, global aspirations. So the name Beyond represented for us is like that step beyond what the status quo today is in the way that people move in the city, beyond the use of carbon fuel to actually move cars. So that really thinking beyond what's next, and that's what we base our name on. But to be honest, I think building a brand is something that you do every day with, you know, every customer call that you get and every time somebody walks in the door. So it goes beyond the name. The name is just one anchor point, but it's really everything that you do as a company that creates a memory on people that will tell them, yeah, you know, when somebody asks you about it, yeah, I got that from the guys at Beyond. Why don't you go and get them? You know, so.
Yeah, totally. We're gonna come back to that for sure. I want to come back to that point, but straplets, it was a little touch and go a little bit with straplets in the beginning. I remember.
That was a hard one to get. I do remember the LETS. It's a de minimis little superlative ad. Yeah, I remember. But we got it.
We got it. We totally
Good job,
got it.
David.
Yeah, but just so just so everyone knows, like the trademark office first rejected straplets because they said that just like Emily was saying, that when you have that at the end, like ETTES or something, it kind of makes something like what were some of the examples they use? Like I can't remember. Basically having something at the end, ETTE, makes something like a smaller version of something, or like sometimes like a less version. And so she was a strap. So straplets, but we didn't really like buy that. Like that really didn't really make sense because it really wasn't like ets. It wasn't strap-ets. It was straplets, right? So like whatever it is, we argued and we won it. But like, how'd you come up with the name? How'd you come up with it?
How do I come up with a name? Oh, I gotta go back in time for that one. I think for both straplets and for road curls, you know, we're bringing to market an invention that our category creators, the curling headband market didn't exist, the strap shoe accessory market didn't exist. And so when I was thinking of the names, like I wanted it to be more defining than a traditional brand name. It's like, how do we define this new category? Because we're first to market, we're creating a whole new category. And so straplets, I can't remember exactly how the original name though was the shoe-in. I think that one.
That's right, the shoe-in, that's right.
Use your foot in your shoe. It's a shoe-in idea if I were ever to be on Shark Tank. But that one, luckily, we dropped and ended up going with straplets because it just had a much better ring to it than the shoe-in. Plus, there was some other issues with the shoe-in and Win Vegas properties and a store over there in Vegas called shoe-in, which was a blessing in disguise. We didn't get it. But yeah, so with the straplets, and when I thought of it, it just sounded like it could be this whole new category. And I was very excited about the name, which is why I was, you know, kind of adamant. I was like, I want this name. I don't want to try to think of a different name. It feels right. And then with road curls, it was, so when I had the idea for road curls and started building out this curling headband, at the same time, this TikTok hashtag road curls where people are using bathrobe belts was starting to go viral. And so the market was calling this thing road curls. So there was an SEO play behind being first to market in that instance, which is you can own the domains, you have all of this traffic organically going to your Instagram page, your Facebook page, all these social media content, because people are already using it. I think it was used 550 million times in 2021, that hashtag. So it is a very, so in that second instance, it was like, okay, the market is calling a hack something. How do we, being first to create a product around a hack, use that to our advantage? And then, yeah, so we got rid of Curl Scarf, which was our MVP name, primarily because my brother said to me, it rhymes with barf, scarf barf, curl barf. And after he said that, I just couldn't get it out of my head. And I was like, all right, Curl Scarf is dead. It's not cute anyway. And we went with that, Road Girls. So yeah, kind of giving a nod to all the women that helped to also create this idea that I then just took it to a different level as a product.
Amazing. So that's amazing. Manuel brings up the point that you have to do it, like it's not just about the trademark. Clearly you have to market yourself and kind of do kind of have some great marketing strategies. You brought up TikTok and stuff like that. Can you talk a little bit about kind of how you use like different marketing strategies, social media to kind of break through?
Sure. I think one thing that Manuel said that like just really hit home with me is talking about like every engagement with the customer is the marketing, you know, that moment as well. It's not just, you know, your brand colors and your logos and things like that. It's every interaction that you have, every opportunity. And we pride ourselves in being an incredibly customer-centric company. And that starts with like the products that we build, making sure that they work, that people are going to love them. And then building the brand around that ethos of customer centricity. So the way that we structure our marketing is into 3 buckets. We have attract, engage, and delight, all just focused on the customer's experience as they get introduced to our brand, as they learn more about it, as they get our product. And so how do we deliver in those 3 buckets? And so everything that we create from a marketing standpoint has to be in one of those buckets and fit through the customer's lens of like, is this something that they're going to be engaged with? Why? Is it bringing delight to them? So for instance, on the delight bucket, we do our like one-on-one virtual 15-minute curl consultations. So if anyone has any issues with the product whatsoever, if you want a personalized tip and trick on how to get beachier looking waves or tighter curls, you can sign up for this. It comes with every single order. And it's an opportunity to get to meet the customer, say hi, thank them for giving our product a shot, and really ensure that they love it. Because there's so many, I think Mike mentioned this earlier, but like a lot of times these products don't live up to the claims. And having been a woman a consumer in the beauty industry, it's just so frustrating to constantly buy things and just be like, this is garbage. And so anyone has that experience, we want to make sure that they do love it. It's a new product. We're here to help. I think one insight that we've found and like kind of restructured our marketing around is that we've just really grown to love YouTube. YouTube is like our home, especially with a new product. You got to educate your customers on how to use it. You got to teach them. You got to give them all that insight. And so YouTube as a long form content platform really gives us that opportunity to answer questions that can reach a wider audience and in the most authentic way. And so that doesn't mean that we're not paying attention to everything else. It means that all of our content marketing strategy starts with YouTube. So we'll film a YouTube content around something that the customer is looking for insights on, or something that we think will delight or attract the customer. And from there, we'll splice it up into email marketing. It'll reference that link. We'll put it into Twitter. We'll put it into all of the Facebook, Instagram, TikTok posts, Amazon videos. And we just use that YouTube and use that as our main focus. And that's our main metric as well, as tracking YouTube. Everything else is just kind of an added way to get people to that video.
Yes, on that whole YouTube thing for sure. I love attract, engage, delight. I love that. I love those 3 words. That's great. Manuel, what do you do for marketing? Have you broken through kind of using marketing?
I think for us, marketing's been a challenge. I mean,
Okay.
because we never had money for marketing. We never, zero, always been a zero budget for marketing. So we are lucky enough that our customers are our best marketing for us. There, we have more than 50% referral rate. So most of our customers come from, hey, I saw you, somebody in the subway, or my somebody in my building has one of yours. So that's really what the number one driving. And the money that we spend it in SEO and trying to figure out what the best way to try people as soon as they enter Google. So there's a lot of search driven people that are already. So there are two things, one is somebody that's already looking for what we have, or for a scooter or for an e-bike to buy or to use. We capture that easily, but we're not. The next stage for us would be, and that will require funding, is let's create the need for our service and product. And that's really what will be the next. And that, we're not doing that right now because we don't have the budget for it.
Got it. But still, I mean, the fact that your bikes are kind of riding all over the city is probably the best marketing that you can buy,
Yeah, it's great. People see somebody in the subway, and of course we put our stickers with the barcode so people can scan it and get straight to the website. So all the little things that we can do, we do them. And we try to look at what are the options to get people onto our funnel.
Yeah, for sure. Marketing is, I often tell clients or potential clients, you're going to spend nothing with us. You'll spend everything on marketing, right? If you can, but there'll be a point where you can't even do that. So, but eventually that's probably where all your money will go to, for sure. Mike, any unique marketing strategies you've kind of adopted since you've kind of launched?
Yeah, it's I learned early on, and by the way, what Emily's doing is brilliant, to be clear.
Yeah.
What we learned early on is that, you can tell people we're in a perverse industry where brands like mine, we say all the things we don't do. We don't contain phthalates and parabens, and we don't do this, but it doesn't give you room to say what you do.
Right.
So, and then by saying, but we're natural, refillable, it only goes so far. So, I one thing that's always driven me as a marketer, because I'm a marketer first, is the smaller you are, you have to do things different in proportion to the degree that you're smaller. I mean, a recipe for success is doing what the big guys do, but do it with less money. So I need to do something differently. So right now we have an ad campaign where we have influencers who are not just influencers, they're fans of the brand, who are also influencers, who talk about how they love doing it raw. And, they start off, in this kind of pseudo-sexual situation. There's one with this woman who's named Gia, who's a body positivity fitness model in bed with her boyfriend, Mike, who's 7 feet tall. And they talk about how they love doing it raw. They did it raw last night for 20 minutes. Let's do it raw again, and then they cover the camera. Next thing you know, they got masks on their face.
It's great.
And it's true to the brand, and we're a provocative brand. And like you said before, you have to be your brand. We're a rebel brand. That's what we call Hear Me Raw. So we're going to be in your face and do things differently and challenge convention. And this campaign, which we just started not that long ago, has been fantastic for us. And one of the things I do is, let them get rewarded for their creative. So I give them a fee to film, but I also give them a percentage of revenue. And that makes them want to do more videos and try new things. So that's been very successful for us.
And so, Mike, can you talk a little bit about what's not been successful for you? Like, what are some of the challenges you've had to face?
We don't have enough time for that conversation. My God, it's like we've tried so many things, and so many things have failed. But you just have to learn and move. Like one thing that's interesting for us is, like in my industry, is 3 years ago, the industry was saying, forget Facebook. It's all about Instagram. And this year, people are saying, forget Instagram. It's all about TikTok. And people are literally walking away from it. And now people are saying TikTok should be folding because the US is going to shut them down. So you're always zigging and zagging. but you just have to stay true to your message and find unique ways to tell your story, and things will break through. But the truth is we've tried a million things and most of them have just not broken through.
Yeah, it's pivot, 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 right?
Yeah, exactly.
To quote Ross from Friends, right? That's kind of what you have to do all the time, right?
Absolutely.
There's no stopping and no knowing what's behind the corner. Manuel, any kind of challenges you can speak to, other than the fact that maybe you can't spend money on marketing? Anything else kind of challenging?
Look, I think it's always for us. It's been a like bootstrapping way to getting customers. So for me, I mean, it's something that I would love to play with the brand and actually create videos and do, just get that social media. But it's me and two other people in the office. So it's always been, and we always had enough customers. So it was like, it would be nice. So to be honest, I don't have more to say than that.
Okay, no, that's good. That's good. I appreciate the honesty and quote unquote the rawness in this also. So thanks for that. Emily, challenges you can kind of point to that might that you kind of had to face or possibly overcame or haven't yet?
In general or in marketing? In general. Well, as of this summer, we're the #1 knocked off item on Amazon. So we're going through that.
God. Wow, really?
Thousands a day. Yeah, so that is definitely a challenge that I faced. And I think coming from a background of law and having, worked and respect Gearhart law and respect the law, it's just been a bit of a shock to just be like, wow, this is literally the Wild West. And the courses and classes that I studied don't necessarily apply anymore. So yeah, there's book smart, and then this year street smart, and what you learned from 2 years ago may not apply. So a lot of this situation that we're going through, there's not even really any manual or guidebook on how to get through it. Yeah.
So speaking to that, so and you brought it up, you kind of touched on it very little earlier. Who do you kind of rely on? Who are your mentors? Who are the people that have been guiding you through this process? Or has it just been you,
I was hoping you'd ask that question, David. My #1 mentor, advisor, best friend is Mike Endursky right over here. It is just, he's a gem, brilliant, incredible, and just a great human inside and out. And I think I was lucky to have started off with such like a deep friendship, and none of that has changed. And just to have more respect for him, having had this relationship as his mentee, and now to be in this panel discussion is just like, it's a milestone. It's very cool.
It's definitely a milestone. That's awesome.
Yeah. But I think, one reason why I mentioned Mike, I have other, mentors, including Sarah Blakely. So we have some like pretty awesome mentors, but someone who you genuinely trust and can just tell honestly like what you're going through, and just like be like, I don't know what I'm doing. And the mentor that can be like, I can help here, or I think this might be helpful, or I don't know. It isn't about like ego in trying to like assume they know the answers to everything, or assume that their answers from 5-10 years ago would still apply in the situation. That I think those are the perfect relationships, where the mentee is super honest and really values and trusts the mentor's insight. And I think that's why, Mike is just the best. And I'm very lucky to have started with that friendship, because I think that's why we're able to have this incredible relationship in a more business sense. But yeah, also I think Sarah Blakely is phenomenal, but it's a different type of relationship. It's more high level. She's very busy. So, each mentor relationship is going to be different. And I think one thing to also keep in mind is that if you have the right partners in different areas of your business, you might find your mentors there. So our factory is woman-owned, woman-run, and I have formed a great relationship with the woman who started that factory, and she has so much industry knowledge that no real consultant will bring to the table. And
Did we lose Emily?
Amazing.
I think Emily, you broke up there a little bit. You were talking.
Oh,
Yeah, you were talking.
sorry.
That's okay, but actually, I kind of want you to finish your point because it was a good one. So it's basically a kind of woman-owned factory, you were saying?
Yeah, it's a woman-owned factory. And so I formed a very awesome relationship with the woman who started it, the founder, and she's become a mentor to us as well. You know, our incentives align. If we do well, they do well. And they took a chance by taking us on when we were small. So, you know, they want to see us succeed in a more altruistic sense too. But the type of industry knowledge that she has, having been a factory owner for so many years and working for these big brands, is just, it's incredible. And no consultant that you hire, no project manager that you hire is going to have that same insights that she has, having worked with so many companies. And so I've randomly found that our factory owner is one of our best mentors when it comes to like more on the operation logistics side. But I think it's also important to try to find mentors in different buckets. Your marketing mentor, your logistics mentor, your legal mentor, you know, all these things that are an additional person that you can call up and be honest with and get their opinions on.
Yeah, excellent advice. Really, really sound advice. Manuel, any kind of trusted advisors, mentors that have kind of helped you through this?
Yeah, look, I think, you know, for me throughout, and this on the business and throughout life too, is not necessarily there's one person or somebody that will call it by name. But there's everybody, to be honest. You know, you have been my mentor, and maybe you don't even know it, but sometimes, you know, I talk to you about, you know, specific things that just go beyond, you know, it's tied to the legal issues that we're discussing, but there are certain implications that touches on the human side of maybe other people involved in the matter, etc. So having conversations or having access to people that you can trust and get some feedback and that you can be open to expose yourself without the threat of, you know, that feeling that you just need to be open in order to get that value out of the conversations that you have. And to maybe, you know, one group of people I think is probably the ones that I go out often to discuss things when I have questions. So when I'm in search of wisdom is other founders. Just people that have or are going through the challenge, and sometimes people come to me to talk about things, and I'm actually learning more when I'm actually talking to you know, somebody that reaches out to me for a conversation too. So I think having founders around that are going through similar challenges is probably one of the most valuable things that I have.
Yes, this is exactly why we're having this session, so that other founders can really learn from all of you. You have so much wisdom. It's really like
it's very
really,
symbiotic. It's a very like you both grow. Everybody grows in a conversation that is, you know, anchored in goodwill and good faith.
Agreed. Mike and Dursky, you are the mentor. So who is your mentor?
Well,
are Emily's mentor.
I think, first of all, Emily, that was lovely. Thank you. It got me very teary, but by not, in all honesty. I think, you know, with Emily, it was, here's a person who's a lawyer who's getting into the CPG world. And this is a whole new world. So having me as one of her mentors made a lot of sense. I don't have a classic mentor because I'm in the same space, kind of like Manuel. We're in our space. We've been in it for forever. But I have teams of advisors and inspirers, you know, and like Emily is, and I'm not saying this just because of, she's such an inspiration to me. She surpassed me in her business, you know, versus what I've been able to do on mine. She's like broken through faster. So she inspires the hell out of me. But I have tons of advisors and a million inspirers. I get inspired with every conversation, with everyone I talk to. I find I get smarter and smarter. It's just like what Manuel said. And, you know, it's funny when the comment that he said about other founders, what I've been always wanting to do, and I've had this idea, and everyone thinks it's a great idea, but we've never been able to do it, is you get 8, 5, 10 different founders, and every 2 weeks you get together, you spend an hour, and you focus on one person's question. My question is, could someone help me on this? And we all spend the hour on that one thing, just to help the other founder. And everyone thinks it's a great idea, but because we're all doing startups, no one has time to do it. But the point is like, you learn so much from other founders who are going through it and, you know, can help you get through some of the muck and mire of it all.
I'm
we
down
should-
for that, Mike, if you want to do it.
Okay,
Yeah, I was just
and
gonna
we're
say-
neighbors.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was just gonna say we should start something like that. We like basically there are other types of organizations, like there's one called Vistage where it's like your trusted advisor group, everybody that's like, you know, a kind of C-suite or kind of in this room kind of talking about their issues. But we should have something like that for like startup founders and stuff like that. So we should talk about that afterwards. Yes, Manuel.
No, I just wanted to add there too. I think, you know, it might not be 8. I think when you get a lot of people, it becomes more, but maybe 2, 3. And when there's really sometimes I found that when there's no really a set schedule, oh, today we're going to talk about so and so, you just get together and you can feel who has, you know, who is low energy at that point, and then you just have a conversation. So what's going on? And just having just one-on-one and 2, you know, 3. I don't know. I'm just thinking that it's just maybe it's the structure sometimes is the barrier of getting it done, and when it's just having a conversation between friends. So
that's okay. I'm in, Manuel.
good.
Okay, so we're a little bit over an hour. There are some questions in the chat. If you have any questions, let me know. But there's a good question here. It's kind of related to the whole mentorship. Did you reach out directly to the people you wanted to mentor you? Emily, can you talk to that?
Yeah, I definitely did. Mike, I got lucky. I got very lucky with Mike. But with Sarah Blakely, I just asked her at it turned into a viral video, but she was speaking at a conference for the How I Built This NPR podcast. It was a summit on all the awesome entrepreneurs, and she was the guest speaker that day. And I knew that Sarah Blakely is someone that like incredibly inspired me to be on this journey, being a female inventor and bringing her product to light. And she's just she's incredible. And so I went to the conference with a poster that said, "Sarah, will you marry me?" Crossed out Mary, wrote mentor. And
I love it.
And so she goes on stage and there's 5,000 people in the audience, all these entrepreneurs. And I thought it was going to be like a rock concert where everybody's poster is going to be held up. I'm like, how is she going to see mine? Like, is my poster good enough? I hope she sees it. And I'm the only one with a poster. And I was like, okay, well, this is embarrassing. I hold it up. And she laughs. She walks out, it just starts cracking up and like, you know, makes it a little nod to my poster, and then continues on with the NPR conference. And then afterwards, she was outside, and I ran into her, and she just, I got down on a knee and I talked to her, and I asked for her hand in mentorship, and I put my straplets over her shoe, and she said yes. And then somebody took a video of it and it went viral. And so now we have quarterly meetings, and she's amazing and has opened up some doors for us. But yeah, I say, like, you know, for me, Sarah Blakely was my ultimate. And so I just went on a limb. I even asked people before I did it. I was living in an entrepreneurial co-living house with about 25 people. And I sent a message to the group being like, I think I'm going to do this. I mean, does anybody know another way to get in touch with Sarah Blakely? Because I'd rather not. And everybody responded saying, no other contact to her, but definitely do not do this. No, 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 no. This is not a smart idea. It's not going to work. Don't do it. And then I did it. And I was like, oh my God, we're so glad you didn't listen to us. So I mean, just go for the ask. I think that also, like right now, for instance, even like we're going through the specific knockoff situation with Amazon. And not many companies or brands have actually gone through the stages that we're at. And so I've done some, you know, Googling around to see who are other founders that have gone through this, and reached out to them on LinkedIn. And someone, one of my messages, got back to me and has been an incredible mentor and advisor through this whole process, and opened up like new avenues that we're exploring, and shared his own story. And I think both Manuel and Mike have talked about just like the power of other entrepreneurs and being able to advise you of situations that you're going through, but also being like a comfort through it because they've been there, you know, or they just know how rough it can be, and to keep your head up. And so it's been an incredible bond that was just formed through a LinkedIn message. So yeah, I think that's helpful. I also will note that I like to have a mentor who's about 3 years ahead of me and where my business is today. So trying to find that person who's just like one little step ahead, because like Sarah Blakely, like she's not that mentor. She's not going to tell me how to get from here to here in today's world today. She's, you know, killed it, crushed it, incredible, incredible product, incredible brand. And so finding those other people that fill those gaps, so you can be like, okay, I see what the next steps are, and this is what it looks like.
Amazing. Emily, there is another question for you. It probably goes to all of you, but we'll start with you. It's from Paul Rea. And it's a good one. Do you have patents protecting the robe curls product? And if you do, is that helpful? You know,
Really great question. So we have patents that are pending on all of our robe curls products, and we have more products that we're launching under it too. So more to come, stay tuned. They have not been issued yet, and that's kind of the difference between straplets. I waited for everything to be fully granted before launching, and then robe curls, I knew it was going to be like a fast to market type of product. We were the very first ones in the market in this heatless hair space from this trend. And now that market has grown like 400% in the past year. It's just nuts. And so we didn't have time for those 3 years to wait for these patents to be issued. And plus I did it with the first one and it didn't really buy me much. We didn't have knockoffs. I didn't go through what I'm going through now. Will they be helpful? No, unless you sue. Right. And that's the truth. Patents are your protection only if you enforce that protection. So you're going to have to file a lawsuit, and that's going to be for, you know, patent stuff. You're looking at, you know, $100,000 that you're going to have to set aside to do this case. And it's going to take a year, 2 years, 10, 20.
Yeah.
So there's, you know, it's not about just having patents. You do want to file those. And especially if you're like trying out a new concept, provisional patents are a great way to just get your mark that place of where you are today. They're inexpensive. Gearhart Law does a great job helping you with those. And it just, you know, solidifies the opportunity to then file more later on without the added expense. But I think when you look at the legal space, we have patents, we have copyrights that are fully registered, we have trademarks that are registered. And all of these things together, it doesn't necessarily protect you unless you're going to do the next step.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I would definitely get a suite of IP.
Yeah, suite of IP for sure. Mike, Manuel, any comment here on this subject?
Mike, okay. You want to go for it?
Yeah, you know, we actually, you know, there was a debate whether we should try to get a patent on the refill system, and it had been done before. That's what inspired me, and I felt like, well, we're not going to get a utility patent. You know, best we get a design patent, and you know, you have to just weigh it. And as you know, doing a startup and trying to watch your cash, I made the decision not to. May I kick myself later? Is that a possibility? Yeah, but so far it hasn't. And again, the bigger, like Emily said, you know, the L'Oreals, the Unilevers are doing refills. I don't think I'm going to beat them in a legal battle. But if it was a utility patent, I would have gone for it for sure.
Okay, Manuel.
Just quick, my 2 cents on this. I think I got a bunch of patents. Most of them are for clients of jobs that I did prior to this company. But what I find, especially, I've been working with Chinese suppliers for a long time, and that's really where I found that sometimes it's useful to have a patent, just because sometimes you just mention that and just lowers their eagerness to do something similar, or to sometimes offer your product to somebody else.
Yeah.
And maybe in a different market. Just the fact that you have a patent, and then you might not necessarily go after the Chinese supplier. And I say Chinese in general, but the overseas supplier, but maybe the person that buys that product from them, that creates also an uncertainty for both of them, and also for the other company that might buy the copyrighted infringement product. So I just find that it helped me in the past, and just having that conversation with the supplier kind of like calm down, or just put that idea out of his mind, or their mind.
Yeah, all really good points. And I think it just goes to show that patents are, not for everybody, but, the actual decision to actually file a patent may not be dictated by what you desire, but what other people might desire, like investors or factories or whatever. Frank Zalewski, you have a question. You want to take yourself off mute?
There we go. Yeah, quick question. My problem is I'm trying to get a project started. I've been working on it for a few years. It's a system that recharges electric cars while they drive. I'm having trouble getting the first round prototype funding. Is there any suggestions in that regard?
Excellent question. Who can start? Manuel, or any, we can start with, I want to hear from all of you, but
look, I think to me it's like the chicken and the egg, right? It's like what you do first, but I think it's about, I don't know how much money you need, but in general, I think you need to get enough of a proof of concept that will get somebody excited to be able to. So you need to get enough information there to actually get people interested enough to actually want to ask, what if we take this to the next stage? And that would be my suggestion. So what are the things that you can do with the means you have now in order to get that formulation or get that excitement on somebody's, and again, who do you target to? It matters. So to be honest, I would not go to a corporate partner, but somebody that is more private money or some, an individual.
Right. I've been chasing the private money. I've also been chasing big organizations. I was just a finalist for the Tech United Propellify. I was one of the 10 finalists, semi-finalists for that. And it's gotten a lot of traction as far as an idea, but everybody says, let me see it work first before I put any money in it. I'm still, I need about 60,000 to get the proof of concept unit built. And after that, I'm sure it'll take off, but everybody wants to see it work first.
Emily, Mike, any words of wisdom you can impart here?
I only have my own personal experience, so I don't know if it's helpful or not. And I'm sorry if it comes off a little like jaded, but what I would say, what we experience is like kicking the can down the road, where it's like, well, we need to see it work first. And okay, well, then we need to see your market traction. Okay, well, then we need to see you have the mass retail deal, So it was just like kind of kicking the can down the road. And so I don't know if it's advice or not. Every situation is different, but it's how we went through with straplets.
Well, yeah, that's the situation we're in. Everybody wants to see the next step before they put it on the funding.
And at what point does it end?
To get to the next step.
Yeah,
but it doesn't hurt to ask and keep asking and keep
exactly.
trying, And I mean, people, when it comes to getting investors and fundraising, it's a full-time job. People put a lot of time. They are shameless about it, and they are, dialing for dollars. As many people, you never know. So it can't, what you're doing is right. Keep asking.
Yeah,
Okay,
I was going to add one thing is that to Emily's point is every investor has their own model. They have glasses that they look at things through. And if it doesn't meet that model, they just reject it out of hand. But we as people who are looking for money take it as like rejection. No one likes the idea, but there are people who say, this is the exact type of investment I like. This is technology. This is, a pre-prototype. This is my bailiwick. This is where I like to invest. So yeah, don't get turned off by people say no, find the people whose model are more suited to that.
Okay.
To piggyback on what Mike said, I think that's a very good point. I think a good follow-up is always to also ask them directly, do you know anyone who may be interested in investing at this stage that fits this model? And would you be willing to make an intro? Because if they make an intro for you, that's even better. Use them for that network.
Yeah, that's helpful. I've actually done that to several rejectors.
Great.
But I've just got, it's a small group that's apparently interested in this, and I keep going back to the same people again. So they love my face, but they haven't put any money on the table.
Hang in there, Frank. We are all rooting for you. Just keep
Thank
doing
you very much.
Keep doing it. Chris Landano, I was about to introduce you. You joined pretty late. Do you want to introduce yourselves to everybody?
Hello, everyone. I apologize for being late. I started an organization called Inventor Rescue. It is a website that everyone needs to subscribe to. It is completely free. I spent my whole morning, I was expecting to be on this call. I spent my entire morning working with two private investigators that work for me pro bono when we have inventors reaching out to us thinking they've been scammed. And you're talking about investors. I've got two entrepreneurs out in Texas that reached out to me this morning and told me they think they're being scammed with investment deal. And I connected them to one of our investigators, and they did a quick surface check, and it looks like they're being scammed. And they already gave money, and it's heartbreaking. But I started Inventor Rescue because I am super active in this industry, and I will tell everyone right now, before you give anyone a dime, please, David has been in this space for a long time. I'm in this space now over 10 years. I'm an ambassador with the United Inventors Association. I'm very passionate about helping people. I've even put my own invention to the side because I'm a retired New York City firefighter. And what's happening in this industry, I mean, it's like, it's unbelievable that we've got consultants, we've got companies that have been operating in the invention community for 20 plus years, and they are complete scam artists because no one calls out the scammers. They get scammed and they move on. And I will share something with you. AARP has over 38 million people. They have a national fraud network. They're now working with us behind the scenes because I brought to their attention that the scammers, they go after inventors who are older, who have more to lose, have more money. So there's a synergy there. And so now I'm working with AARP to bring this to their attention. I know Emily said that she's working with Sarah Blakely. I'm trying to get as many inventors on this. I don't charge. I mean, you go to my website, we've helped people rescue their molds out of factories. Like it's a real problem. And, I'm a one-man show right now with a lot of eyes and getting a lot of attention, but it's happening from patent attorneys, independent consultants. It is out of control. I consult and mentor for free right now. It's just, I'm becoming really passionate about it. So that's my spiel. I apologize for coming on late, but I'm hoping that once we confirm that these folks are scamming, we can get their names out there the right way. But inventorrescue.com, please check it out. Send me an email. The website has the best up-to-date information on companies that are scamming. Emily, you talked about infringement. I just came back from the Shark Tank reunion. I wasn't on Shark Tank, but I've helped a few Shark Tank entrepreneurs, and that got back to the organizers, and they had me go out there. And I've met a few Shark Tank entrepreneurs that have found a few firms that will fight infringers upfront, no money, no cost, pro bono, with back-end success.
Okay,
Awesome.
Chris, thank you. You do important work, and I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Emily, Manuel, Mike, I want to get some last words from you. Maybe just some final thoughts, Mike, to everybody that's kind of viewing this.
Yeah. Just, I mean, it's been the most wonderful journey for me, but it requires just nonstop passion and punches. Like just feel like you're throwing punches every single day. Never get angry. You learn, you move on, you learn, you move on, but it just takes tremendous amounts of discipline, tremendous amounts of energy. And, it is one of those things, like it's a 3-step forward, 2.5, maybe 2 3/4 step backwards sometimes. But it's when you're just having that vision of your that make that vision come to life is like the biggest carrot, that makes me go every day. So as long as you have the passion and the determination and look for punch every day, you'll get there.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that. Good words. Manuel, final words?
Yes. Yeah. Just first, I want to thank you for the invitation, man. I'm, having a great time sharing and learning. But also just, to say one thing, and I think this is my personal, is what I'm going through too personally. And it's something I just want to share, that throughout the time that I've been doing this, there are many times I was looking at the end goal as the reward, without really paying attention at what I was doing every day today to be the reward. So that doing that thing changed my perspective on things and on putting expectations, not necessarily on the result, but also in the process.
Yeah.
And that changed the energy that you have and how you react to the negativity or the bad things that happen throughout, because there are a lot of good things. I'm just putting it out there, it's not advice or anything like that. It's just putting it out there and say like that change of way of looking at things made a difference for me. I hope that's for you too, if you do that.
I just jump in for a second. I agree so wholeheartedly that happiness comes from progress, not from cross the finish line.
Yeah.
You're so right, Manuel. It's dead on.
Yeah, I agree. Emily, I agree totally. Everybody just needs to kind of redefine their definition of success and happiness, and you'll get so much further, I believe. Emily, final words.
I'll also do a demo because I never did it.
Yeah.
Followers with a demo. Great girl. So I was honestly going to say the same thing because I have a mug that I use like every day. It says enjoy the adventure on it. And it's something that it took me like a minute to realize that, yeah, you got to lean in and actually enjoy the adventure because it's going to be ups and downs. And you just have to appreciate that you are bringing something incredible to life. And it's worth it. And so I think in that line too, it's looking for a purpose bigger than just building a company. Like what is your actual purpose and mission that's driving you to do that? And so for me, I want to be able to empower optimism, empower originality. Less than 4% of inventors, patent holding inventors, are women, and that to me is just insane. It's absolutely not okay. And I think everyone has the opportunity to create innovation that betters their community and makes the world a more sustainable and better place. So like, I hope that just by enjoying the journey and showing what we're going through helps other people to think outside the box and add to what we're creating here in a better world.
Yes. And we love those curls. Like those curls rock.
Thank you. And they'll last 5 times longer than a curling iron. We got to make the change, guys. Otherwise, we'd be still using hot tools.
David, can I say something to that?
Yeah, what's up?
Emily, are you familiar with the National Women's Inventors Club?
No, I'd love to be familiar with that.
Yeah. If you want to shoot me your email, I can connect you to Marcy McKenna. She works with QVC and HSN. She started a National Inventors Club for women.
Thank you. We'll do right now. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris. I can put you two in touch. Okay, everyone, thank you so much.
David, yes. I want to thank you. I want everyone to know David works so hard behind the scenes on doing these events. Gearhart Law is very dedicated to the community. And I got to give credit where credit's due because he never asks for it, but he works very hard on these events. And I'm very happy that he's involved.
Thanks, Chris.
He runs it. I'm involved. I'm in the back seat.
You definitely are.
Chris and David, wait, Chris and David, can we get that link and put it in the summary email that we send out after this? Because a few people are asking for that link to that women's group.
Yeah, can you do that, Chris? Can you send us the National Women's Inventors Club? Can you send us a link for that? I just wanted to say before I thank everyone, so our next event will be on December 8th. It's also a Thursday. It's not the last Thursday in the month, but because of Christmas and Thanksgiving and everything, we're really excited about it. It's called the ABCs of NFTs and the Metaverse. Everybody's freaking just asking about that and wants to know about that. And we have great speakers. I'm very excited for it. One of them is actually one of them is here with us today, Peter Schmieli. And so Peter, we'll see you next month for sure. We're very excited. But thank you to Michael Endursky, Manuel Saez, Emily Kennison. We wish you so much luck continuing to break through into these crowded markets. We are here for you. We support you. We love you. And, keep on for sure.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.